So how do we think through these things using that spirit of Sankofa to bring what was in the past forward to help what we're doing now?
Absolutely. So in order to revive, what we are really doing is decolonizing. And by decolonizing, we have to leverage this concept of Sankofa, which means bringing it back, right? So we reach back into our history and bring back some of the things that we've lost. And of course, as we rebuild, we have to do it. We're going to be behind, but there'll be certain things that we must take with us. So I say there are two areas of our culture. So I talked about institutions earlier. There are two areas of our culture that we need to pay keen attention to. The first aspect of our culture is this idea of collectivism. That's something we need to bring back. Collectivism, as opposed to individualism, which is very common in the US. So the US is known to be a highly individualistic country, and it works for the US. It's important we understand that. By reaching back to bring collectivism back into Africa doesn't mean that we are criticizing other culture. So no, individualism works in the US context. In the African context, what has worked in the past for Africans is this idea of collectivism. The other aspect of our culture that we have to bring back is our deference to the elders, the respect we pay to the elders. But I have a different take on it. When you dig into African history, you realize that Africans were not just sheepishly following elders. No,
right.
There were certain kinds of elders that Africans followed. Let me give you an example with a proverb. What a young person sees standing up, an elder can see sitting down. It speaks to a wealth of knowledge and wisdom. So Africans are interested not in the gray hair, not in the older looks, but in the wealth of wisdom that elders bring to the table. Let me give you another proverb from the Yoruba land. Where you will sit when you are old shows where you stood in your youth. That is a Yoruba proverb. And that tells us, again, that the elders that Africans followed were those that sat in a place of prestige, in a place of respect, those that offered wisdom to the people. The death of an elderly man is like a burning library from Ivory Coast. Again, the fixation is not on the elderly person, but on the knowledge they have to impact. One more. When you show the moon to a child, it sees only your fingers. That's from Zambia. So that's a contrast between elders and children. Someone who's not experienced doesn't see far, doesn't have vision. So you are trying to show the moon to a child, but they only see your finger because their vision is limited. So there is a culture that we have lost, and that is a culture to vigorously pursue wisdom and knowledge. That is a culture that we have lost. So I think that is what the conversation needs to be about. How do we bring back deference to elders or wisdom and our collectivist approach to solving problems?